Thanks to my good man Chemo for being a patron. If you want tons of exclusive RPG content, join now as a patron today.
What is up, RPG fans? In this video, I will be ranking all the characters in Ni No Kuni II on a tier list. Yes, there are only 6 of them, so this will be a mighty short video. But you know what? Flippin' heck, man, that's going to be a good thing for once, because usually my videos run on forever. So let's get right into this, and let's go in the order of when you get them in the party. So let me rearrange this really quick. Roland, then Evan, then Tani, then Batu, then Leander, then Bracken. Alright, so starting with Roland, I think I'm going to have to say the solid A tier for Roland. Roland is really just an all-around fantastic character. He's really simple to use. I'd probably say he's the easiest character to get the hang of by a pretty wide margin, and I think that he's just really powerful. He has great AoE. He has a good balance of utility in terms of his quick attacks, his heavy attacks, and honestly, his gun is really powerful, especially if you're doing dash attacks. And best of all, he has, the AoE damage, but a lot of debuffing, so you can always, like, even in, like, expert mode or whatever, you can run up to an enemy, debuff them really quick. If you're on full MP, you can hit them, and now they have really low attack and really low defense, and then you can just whip everyone with them. And honestly, even in like the post game kind of with the martial methods or whatever, like a lot of times I just kept Roland on his own, just normal. I know a lot of people probably would advise against that, but I thought he was the one character where I was like, you know what, I might just keep him on normal. And you know what, building that zing gauge faster was just nice. And really, Roland is just an all-around great character. He's not good. It's really like his debuffing, his versatility, and just his good damage output overall that puts him in the A tier. Alright, Evan, I'm going to put in the A tier. This might be a little controversial, but I'm going to put him behind Roland. He has really good magic, but the problem is, for a lot of the game, I'd say more than not, a lot of the game magic is pretty weak unless you're really investing in Evermore spell works and you really are paying attention to all the weaknesses of all the enemies. And in general, that's not really going to be a lot of people. So I think that Evan is not as good. I mean, he has Astra and Mornstar doing good stuff in the end game, but like, and he has Lifeline, which does help, but really, I mean, he doesn't have as much damage as Roland. He doesn't have like the debuffs, and he has magic, but so do most people. And I think there's one magic caster that really is better than him. I think overall, Evan is just a pretty decent character. Actually, I'm going to move Evan down to the B tier. I know that's controversial, but I think magic is pretty weak until the end game. In the end game, I would say Evan is better than Roland, especially counting if you're going off Wizard's Companion post game super high level. Evan and Leander are like 2 tiers above everyone, but for the whole game, which is what I'm talking about in this tier list, I'm going to put Evan in the B tier. He's really solid, but I couldn't say he is a or S tier pick throughout the game. All right, Tani, I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna put her in the S tier. Her low HP is pretty bad, but the speed of her attacks is absolutely insane. Like, she can have just as much attack as Batu with some of her spears if you try hard enough, and she can be doing like 3 times as fast of hits. And she has Lifeline, which is a really good spell, and her ranged attacks are amazing. They're super fast. And Tani, like, she's just so fast. Hitting, moving, and once you get good at Tani, you'll never get hit, and everything will go down super fast. And if we're talking post-game, give her ding-dong discipline, and she just will never get hit. Tani's amazing. I know she doesn't have, like, as many things, but when you attack that fast, you're just doing more damage than everyone, and that's just the truth. And I think that she deserves to be on the top. All right, next is Batu. I'm going to put low B tier. Batu really shines earlier in the game because he is a meat shield, especially if you're playing expert mode. If you're playing in expert mode or whatever, most of your characters will get one-shotted by some of the harder bosses. Well, Batu usually won't, especially if you give him some bread or something to raise his defense early in the game. And Batu just is going to be the GOAT for heavy attack damage, for tanking, and yes, he is really slow, which is making me put him lower on the list. And I mean, most people would probably say Evan is way better than Batu, but it's just my opinion. But I think that Batu, especially, he's less good in the middle, but at the beginning and end of the game, I think he's really good. Again, high health, high damage. He's just like the tank. And when it comes to martial method, I like to give him Martha's method, which I don't know. It just, with how much damage Batu does and firing off Higgledies like crazy, I love that specifically. So, honestly, Batu's just really good all around. I think he does a ton of damage, ton of health, all that jazz. All right, Leander, I'm going to have to put here. Because here's the thing. Leander might have amazing magic with Even Star, but he also can really hold his own in combat. Why is that? Because once you really master Leander, like, everyone, I feel like he has a high skill ceiling, but I feel like Leander can become on a tier of his own with enough dedication. Because how it works is his spear is not connected to his body or whatever, which means you have a decent amount of range, which means you don't even have to get up in the enemy's face. If you're using, like, you attack and you make sure you're holding the directional joystick, whatever the heck, I don't know why I called it, just the joystick. I was going to say directional pad, and then I realized I was wrong. So the joystick, and you just move that in the right way, your spear will fling, hit enemies, you can have it swing around you. Like, that spear is amazing. And you can do some insane things. Also, the teleporting means that, like, you have no way to get hit. Like, you have phased through stuff. Instead of just a roll, which you can still kind of get hit, especially if you don't upgrade it on the tactic tweaker, like, you're not getting hit if you teleport around. So once you really get the hang of Leander, he's doing tons of damage, and yes, he is magic, but he's not as focused on magic as Evan, whereas Evan's just a worse sword user than Roland without his magic. However, Leander's something special even without his magic, and for that, I think he deserves top A tier. And Bracken, I'm going to have to say she's C tier. I really do think she's the worst character in the game. And why? She's pretty slow like Batu, and she just doesn't have the health to back it up. She doesn't have as much damage to back it up. And her techniques, yeah, she has that one healing move, and she has some drones. And I do like her, like, unlimited, like, her ability that lets her fire bullets like heck, but really, it's not worth putting Bracken in the party, in my opinion. I think she's a step down from everyone. Give her Gizmo, and she can be a decent healer or whatever, but I just don't think her techniques can match up. When Batu is like the tank, Bracken just feels like a worse version of Batu in pretty much every way. Is she fun to use? Yes. Is she unique? Yes. But I think she is definitely the worst character in the game. And this game is pretty balanced. So, I mean, you can go with any team and you'll be just fine. But I think this would have to be my opinion. There's no, like, D or F tier characters. But I think this would be my opinion on ranking throughout the game in Ni No Kuni II. If we were going to go end game capabilities, just real quick, I would say Evan's at the top. Would I say Evan's at the top? I'm going to say Leander's at the top. Then Evan, and then a whole nother tier down here. Actually, I'll put Tani in A. Batu B. Roland. I honestly would say Batu's probably better than Roland. And I really think that Bracken would move even farther down because she really just I don't know. I really don't think she has anything on the other people, but that's just me. So yeah, anyway, this is my like post-game tier list. I'll move it back to the way it was before just one last time, just in case you skipped to the end of the video. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Have a fantastic day. Hope this was able to help someone out or give someone some entertainment, because, you know, Ni No Kuni II is an underrated game. Love it to death. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, RPG fans.